dude. Careful. Did you forget?
Realist Podcast. Welcome to the You Are Here Podcast, episode 147 of the podcast. You know, notify the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube with the video, Anchor.fm, www.youarepodcast.co. We cannot afford the M for most of hot sauce. If you want a traditional family recipe, if you want something tasty, you want something vegan, soy-free, gluten-free, all the frees, and still packed with flavor and taste, Formosa Sauce is for you. FormosaSauce.com. Go get yourself some.
Yes, and we got one more. Valino's Meat Market Steakhouse. I keep saying it every week. It's growing. It's growing.
Yes.
Wayne, New Jersey, Berdan Ave. It is the family steakhouse.
Local.
It's local. You want to get a nice New York style steak environment, and, you know, sit down dinner with the family and friends.
Real cuts.
But you don't have to go to the city. It's right here.
Boom.
Come check out Valino's Meat Market Steakhouse. Get the cream cauliflower. I always suggest it. I'll be there. Yeah. Come get some steak.
Also, shout out to everyone on Patreon. The patrons, it's growing. The Cresters are growing.
Yes.
Our little cult.
Yes.
If you guys ever want to support, that's the best way to do it. We offer extra content. We do extra things. So check it out on there. It's patreon.com/youareherepod.
And we love you guys. Thank you. Thank you for supporting. Like and subscribe if you can right now. We see you. We see you in the view count. We see you in the analytics. We know what's going on in the background, all right? Don't sneak a peek and then don't like it. Don't subscribe. We need you. No, I'm just kidding. We love you guys. What are you going to say?
I want you to introduce, because you brought someone.
I got a big introduction.
Across the sea again. Okay? Once again.
This is coming from another country, another place in the world. We got a special guest today. The way I came across his film was through TikTok. Thank you to my wife. It was a weird video, and I watched it in bed at night by myself. had a panic attack. Couldn't sleep. And I reached out on a whim, and we have one of the, what I would say, best up and coming directors who's been discovered now. He's no longer a secret.
Yes.
Jack Shanks. Thank you for being on the podcast today, man.
Welcome, Jack. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Really exciting.
Yeah, man, we're happy to have you, dude. We're really, really happy to have you. Like I said, man, I came across Man on a Train, okay? And this is where our encounter begins, I guess. This is where we can start the podcast.
We watched it on the one podcast, right?
We did. Together. I sat Mike down. I said,
he's like, you need to watch this.
You got to watch the whole thing.
You have
to. So we did, and it's been... Yeah, it's been rattling in my mind ever since. And
if whoever's listening, stop this right now. Go watch it. The channel's Mini-Nightmares Official, right, on YouTube.
Mini-Nightmares.
You can watch it. You can watch it on there. Go check that out now. I just want to say, I feel like it's one of the most effective horror films.
So effective
because it's so. You were talking about it's so real. It's like it could literally happen to you on your commute to work, you know what I mean? Or on your way home. It just feels so real, and it doesn't have any gimmicks. It doesn't have any jump scares. It doesn't have any just cheap way of getting you. It's just so real, and I think that's why it works so well.
Yeah, and Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, man. This isn't your first short film. This is not at all the first thing you've ever done. Am I correct in saying that?
No. I mean, I did. There's three other episodes that are online now that we do for Mini Nightmares. We've done a few more. We're just trying to keep the quality control going at the moment, so we've just been experimenting with different ideas. But yeah, I think Man on a Train was the third or fourth film I made. Wow. I can't remember it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what was it about? I mean, the genre of horror. Has it always been something that influenced you or inspired you? Have you ever been drawn to it your whole life?
I think I grew up, in the 80s and the 90s. And so for me, you look at the family movies from that time, we're talking Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, Return to Oz. All that stuff was really, really scary. And I think I gravitated to it as a kid. And my mum and dad, somehow, for whatever reason, they let me watch Jaws when I was 5, which I've never forgotten. And I think, since then I think it's, I have gravitated towards those things, that sort of dark sense of the macabre. Batman, I remember being a kid and seeing Tim Burton's Batman, and I was introduced to Tim Burton as well. And that whole thing, I just like that kind of I don't say darkness is the right word, but that sort of sense of something just slightly off has always just really attracted me.
Yeah. That's exactly how I would put the short. I think you captured that quality of something is just a tad off, and it could happen to literally. I mean, it's a genius brushstroke of filmmaking. It's a genius brushstroke in my opinion, because anyone can be. This is through the lens of anybody. You plug yourself into this thing in 2 seconds. Tired at the end of work. Work day. You're on the train. You just want to sit down, and you do, and other people are there, and then you're not really paying attention, and
like we've all thought about that.
Gosh,
happening,
man. Oh.
Right? We've all thought about that happening.
And the movement, the movement is there's nothing more jarring than a subtle, sharp movement, and I mean, an unknown. There's a because in the city, you get on a train and you don't know who you're getting on the train with, and it's late at night, and someone's there, preaching something or just alone in the corner pretending to sleep. You never know. So. Yeah, man, I just have so much to say about it. It just, it's very. Sorry, go ahead.
No. It's interesting because I think the thing that I try to do in a lot of the work that I make when I try to make things scary is, again, it's about trying to make it relatable. And I think we've all seen horror movies where it's like it's a killer with a chainsaw running after you, kind of thing, and the response that you have is very simple. You just run for your life. But I think but none of us can really relate to that either.
Yes.
As great as those movies are, and I love them. And I if you haven't seen Halloween Kills, go see it because it's amazing. I loved it. But for us, what me and Tamika talked about was this idea of we've all encountered people that we just don't understand them. We don't know we have no idea of predicting what they might do. But they're still terrifying either way.
Yes.
We've all bumped into that kind of person, or we've made eye contact with somebody that we just wish we hadn't.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of what me and Tamika discussed about it. It's like in the back of this character's mind, there's a chance this guy might just go away. You know what I mean? He's not coming at her with lethal intent. He's just really, really fucking strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, also, is Tamika the lead actress in the film? Is that who
she is? Yeah, Tamika Mortimer. Yeah.
So she's incredible. That's another shout out.
Yes,
she was incredible.
She's just amazing. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes, that's I guess what I got from the film too. I want to get more into your history, but I guess while we're on the subject of this film, just let me get it out because I've been waiting to talk to you for a long time. Specifically the point of view angles of this film when you're sitting in the chair. And you're just, it reminded me of, I personalized it, I guess, in my own weird way. When I was a kid, there was a weird horror film that came up, and I don't remember the name of it, but it was an older horror film where if you woke up in the middle of the night, you were attacked by like a trillion demons that were like watching you, right? And you would keep your eyes closed throughout the night. You would never open your eyes, even if you were awake. And as a kid, I used to lay there and I used to just be wide awake and I'd be laying there and I'd be like, nope, the lights are out. Mom left the room. I got to keep my eyes closed till morning,
I want to see that.
I don't know if I dreamed it or if it was real, but it felt very real. And it reminded me of this. I mean, the fact that you don't know who the person is and you just, you lean just a bit outside the chair and you catch a glimpse and it's okay. Now, what is driving this film forward seems to be curiosity. A human curiosity about who is this? What is going on here? And she leans again and you see, a little bit more. And now you see a violent act, a sharp, small, subtle, I looked one too many times thing. And now I have to deal with this, I have to deal with this, whatever this is. And I'm trapped. I'm in a corner, Spoiler alert. I'll stop myself. Go watch the short. And turn the lights off and just put your full attention on the screen and you're going to get freaked out. It's so good. But Jack, have you always been, centered around storytelling and filmmaking? Like, has that always been the center of your passion?
I think pretty much, yeah. I think I just like telling stories. I like scaring people when I was a kid, scaring my sister. That was good fun. I think I liked that was where when I was a kid in school, I liked writing just random stories, and drawing and doodling ideas and stuff. I think that's where I was in my happy place. I did really badly in everything else at school.
Wow.
And it's interesting, actually, because my girlfriend actually found a report card from me from when I was about 4 or 5, which I had not seen. And it was mad. And it was just talking about Jack likes drawing pictures and telling random stories.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, I had no idea I did that, but there we go. Yeah.
There you go.
Dang. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you're always, I always have this conversation with most of our guests. Is it comes up a lot. Was this what we were meant to do? Is this something that just,
Yeah, sure.
are we cut from that cloth, Jack? Are we just meant to tell a story? That's what we're made of. That's our fabric of us, or is it by chance? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's strange. The one thing I always listen to or I always think about is that speech that Steven Spielberg gave about listening to the whispers. Did you ever see that speech?
No, I don't think so.
He talks about how there's things that you want to do in life. I'd like to do this. I want to do that. I aspire to do this. That looks like a great idea. I'll try this. But all along, there's a little voice in your soul whispering, you should be doing this. And that's the voice you need to listen to. And I remember, I always felt like I wanted to do filmmaking, but for a long time, I was trying to do music videos.
Yes.
Because I thought my visuals were coming on nicely. And then I got to a point where I finished a music video and I was so incredibly proud of it. And then I looked at it and this is months of work. And I looked at it and I said to myself, if that had played as an advert before your YouTube video, would you skip it?
Wow.
And I was like, yes, I would skip it. I would skip that video. And that's when I realized I'm not supposed to be doing music videos. I'm supposed to be doing these little short horror movies, and that's my world. That's where I want to be,
Yeah.
So it's like it took me a while to listen to that,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Why do you think that is? Why do we fight the current, or why do we not listen to the whisper, you think?
I don't know. I think it's just because, we mature and we try, and I think when you get to a point where you want to do what your passion is, but you want to earn a living out of it, you start to try and rationalize different things.
Yes,
and you start to think, well, maybe I should do this. This seems like a practical approach to how I want to, pursue my passion.
Right.
And the truth is that the way you pursue your passion is by staying in love with it and doing what it is that you want to do. Because if you're constantly trying to do your passion because it's just about getting employed, you'll fall out of love with it really quickly. And I was so desperate to get employed, and I came very close to being signed to a company that do music videos, and I didn't get it in the end, and I was devastated. And that was when I realized I need some major rethinking here about how I'm approaching my work.
Wow.
Dang. That's cool.
So if you get just a what if scenario here, if you got signed to this, let's say, company and this new job, would you have made Man on the Train?
I don't think I would have. No, I don't think I would have. I think I don't know what would have happened if I'd done music videos. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I can't imagine. I'm glad I didn't. I mean, I would love to still do some music videos, and I've got another one that someone's asked me to do soon, but I don't know how I would have got back in touch with what I used to do, because my earliest movies, like straight out of school, I was doing some little unprofessional but as good as I could horror shorts.
Yes.
So how I would have found myself back to what I felt I was meant to do, I'm not sure. I don't know. It's a weird.
So you said you went to school, Jack. Where'd you go to school? You went to film school?
No, I went to a university called Royal Holloway, and I studied psychology of horror, which was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, so I looked at the Freudian aspects of horror, which was crazy. Wow. And then that was really it. And then I just picked up a camera and got to work when I graduated.
Okay. I can relate. Not to the Freudian horror education, but picking up the camera and just starting to
pick up the camera and you go for it.
Yes.
Yes. It's the best. You learn it by doing it, like any other craft.
Absolutely.
You just grab some lights off Amazon, go do it. Be careful when you buy lights on Amazon, because you can get some really cheap ones that are amazing, and you're like, wow, 20 quid for a pair of lights, that's amazing. And they're like, yeah, and 150 for the batteries. And yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I wanted to ask, like with that journey of like starting, like picking up the camera, I feel like in the beginning, a lot of the time, it's always like, oh, how much can I fit in? Like more is better, you know? Like more complex, the better it is.
Yeah.
How do
you
you
mean like in technology?
Yeah, with like technology or even in story, and like it has to be all these interconnecting things, everything.
We need the green screen. We need
Yeah. But with Man on a Train, like I think it's such an amazing film just for like people like want to get into filmmaking and stuff, because it's such a simple film.
I mean,
And
I'm sure
and that's not a bad thing.
it's not a bad thing, and I'm sure it took much more than what we
Yes.
see on the screen.
Yes, obviously.
yeah.
But it's an amazing concept.
Yes.
And like story, obviously.
Yes.
And obviously it's so, I think it works so well, that relatability you were talking about. That's why it's so like, because it's so simple, like it doesn't need to do anything else. You know what I mean? It does the job, and that's it.
Jack, the 2 short films I've done so far that I've written and shot and acted in are it's 2 people, and it's and it's the genre of film as well. It works in my favor. It's a drama.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
But you know, when you go to horror, it's like it's very the at least here the short films I've seen at festivals and things are it's very easy to get lost in a costume or you know, crazy effects and things of that nature. You know, the makeup is on every character is insane, and you know, we need some CGI at some point. And, and there's so much to say in the simplicity of a just an off encounter. There's just so much to say and feel.
I couldn't agree more, and it's something that I think, you know, there's an intimacy to filmmaking and to storytelling that, you know, you can sit somebody in a chair and put a camera on them, and if their thought process is true and complex, they'll be sharing something beautiful, and there's something in that is so much more interesting than somebody floating through space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, were you surprised that the Man on the Train like blew up like it did, or were you like?
Yeah, that was a really, really trippy thing that happened. Basically, because we made the thing in just before 2019, and you know, we put it online, and like nothing happened at all. And I sent it to some festivals and got no response. And me and Tamika were just sort of like, well, you know, we did what we could. That's it. You know, we were just moving on to other things. And then like just not that long ago, I just saw it suddenly did this weird spike in views. And I assumed that was just Tamika sending it to her friends. It's like, she's just really popular. So she's got like 10,000 friends. And, you know, they went and watched it.
Yep.
And then suddenly, all of a sudden, something was happening. And Eddie King, who, I don't know if you saw it, but I did a short called Scare Maze. And he plays the clown. And he said, you do realize that on TikTok, you've had over 1 million views. And I was determined to get through lockdown without knowing what TikTok was. Do you know what I mean? But it was doing me a favor. So I was like, okay, right. That's amazing. And then next thing we know, it did 250,000 in a single day.
Wow.
It just exploded. And I couldn't believe it. And I think the moment it really hit me was when I saw a video of it being shown to a class of students in America. And that was when I was like, this is madness. This is total madness. Yeah. Wow. So I was really surprised, especially considering I thought I'd made something that didn't work.
Wow. Well, Jack, like, you know, setting out to make this thing, is that in the back of your mind? You know, we talked about, I guess, before, like, you know, you separate the, you know, if I get this many views and the ticket price is this much or the rental fee is this much, then I'll make this much money. And you lose the passion, right? You lose the sense of this is why I want to do the thing in the first place. But, you know, going into it, were you hoping, were the fingers crossed, like, I hope this goes viral. I want it to be viral. I want to show it to as many people as possible.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I really got very, very sort of hard seasoned by the work that I've been doing prior to Mini Nightmares.
Yes.
I was used to, you know, putting my heart and soul into something and making it work, and nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, I think that's a cross you've just got to bear.
Yes,
as an artist,
absolutely.
Filmmaker, toughen up. It's okay. It doesn't mean anything. And so I was making these things because I loved them, because I had a passion for them. I would have loved it to have gone viral the way it did, but I don't think I ever took that seriously.
Yeah.
I was like, but in the back of my mind, of the 4 that we've made, that we've released thus far, I did think it was the one that's, if any of them are going to be, have this kind of success, it will be this one, because I think, again, it's that relatability we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. After that happening, like, what
are you going to
I
the
just want
bar?
to ask, like, yeah, what
Are you celebrating at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, what
Yeah.
when you see the spike, are you
cool.
calling?
I feel like it's something. Obviously, yeah, you're saying like it's in the back of the mind, but it's cool, especially seeing that like across the world, like being shown in a classroom, it hitting us,
man.
and us reaching out. Like, I think,
Yeah,
I love that, like, interaction of what film can do.
It's the best part.
Bring
Yeah.
people.
I think that's the power, particularly of the horror genre, is that it just transcends languages. It we all get it. We all know that kind of thing, and it so that's the amazing thing when you see it in Brazil and South Africa and other countries like that. It's amazing, and it's amazing how there's the different kinds of reactions that you get as well. It's like a lot of people in India, their reaction has been very different to people in other countries.
Wow.
So it's like, it's really, I mean, my girlfriend is half South African. So when I showed it to her, bearing in mind she's already been held up on a train at knife point way back when. So she saw it and she was just like, well, that's just your average,
Another day.
train journey.
Saying,
You're going to meet weirdos. So it's, it's different. It's different how people respond to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Well, is it like now for you? After the success of the short, I'm sure people are. We reached out to and we would have never met otherwise if we hadn't seen the short, because it's just insane to think that you could have took that music video job and we would have never met. It's just it's a bizarre thing to think about. But
it's weird, isn't it? Yeah,
it's very strange. But I think that's some things are meant to be, and you listen to that whisper and.
Yeah, listen to the whispers.
Yeah, man. But like now, are people reaching out to you across the countries, all of the world, saying like, let's work together, Jack. Let's do this thing, Jack. Are your dreams coming true here, or what's going on?
Well, we had a really cool production company called Good Deed Entertainment. They were Oscar nominated for a film on Van Gogh. Van Gogh, and they have a splinter division called Cranked Up Films, and they've showcased Man on a Train, that's been amazing. And I've had some writers and composers particularly have been getting interested. They want to get involved. Nothing major yet, but I'm just going to carry on working and doing my thing.
I'm throwing my hat in the ring, Jack Shanks. If you ever need an actor
thank
from
you,
America, I want in.
England.
I'll pop right over. Anything
awesome.
you do, man. I think you're fantastic. I got a list of questions for you, Jack, from one of our closest friends, Adam Louder. Shout out Adam Louder. He's my partner. I started a production company with him, and we're just best buds. He's okay.
Poor Adam.
So he wanted to know. He has a whole list. So I'm only going to ask a few of them. Okay. So, what can cinema do that words cannot do alone? He wanted to ask you.
Cinema do that words can't do alone. Well, that's such an interesting question, because I think I see a lot of scripts, I see a lot of short films, and I think there's a lot of dialogue in them. And for me personally, I think film is at its most powerful when you cut the dialogue in half.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? It shouldn't be as great as amazing dialogue can be. I think film, just through the sheer silence, can just do so much. Just visually what it can share with you. And I think especially that's why like thrillers and horrors work so well on film, particularly in this particular medium, is because they can do things that spoken word can't. And it's interesting because I teach at a drama school at the moment, the Oxford School of Drama, and we film Shakespeare sometimes. And the one Shakespeare that works the best on film is Othello, because it's a thriller,
Wow.
because so much is unsaid. So obviously the prose is amazing, but it's what's not said that is the most powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And so Othello is the only one of all the Shakespeares that works just as well as a film as it does on theatre. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. The behavior,
That kind of,
you know, the behavior, right? The human behavior,
exactly, human nature.
Yes.
Absolutely. Human
yes,
behavior, you know, and the guilt and the suspicion. And Iago, you know, he's just such an amazing villain because he's so human, and what he says so much, but it's what he doesn't say. That's when he's at his most fascinating, you know.
man. You see an Othello film coming up soon, Jack, in your future? So,
Oh, wow, I'd love to. There's a great one with Lawrence Fishburne.
yes, yeah, I remember that one.
Mm.
Man, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, me either.
Othello being a thriller. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. The whole thing where he's trying to get the handkerchief back from his wife,
Yes.
and it's this prized possession. And there's just so much as a filmmaker you can mine in that scene that isn't in the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
You can find so much to play with in that stuff. And, you know, it suddenly comes to life in a way that Shakespeare would be really happy with. You know, it's like, wow, I didn't think I could do that.
Jeez. Yeah. Okay. I guess this is in the vein of the same type of question, but what's the ideal process of filmmaking for you? I guess if you had everything would go the way you want it to go and you plotted it and it went this way, what is the ideal way of filmmaking that you, I guess, enjoy?
You mean logistically, or?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
I think for me personally, I like the first thing that comes into my head 90% of the time is an image. I get an image in my head, and I sort of start to build a story around the image. And, you know, sometimes more or less I'm kind of doodling and thinking about what it could be. And it's sort of, I just get a feeling from the image, and then we sort of work it into a script. Most of the time, I'm not fussed about being too specific with the dialogue. I like the idea that we can play with it on the day. And I think also just looking for a really visually dynamic hook, something that looks different from what you've done previously, so that we go, my favorite part of the shooting is the test shooting, where we just get to the location and we just play with it. No pressure. Let's just have a go and see what we get and come up with ideas and stuff. And you start to see it come alive. And then book a date in to shoot, make it work, cut it, and hope that the thing turns out well. Yeah,
you posted your bonus footage, the behind the scenes stuff for Man on the Train. We were watching it, and that's exactly, I guess, what you're describing. Is that, you know, we have the train, and we get to play around here. We get to find the story together, and
totally,
I love that.
Absolutely,
yeah.
I mean, there were shots that the thing that was scary about filming Man on a Train is how quickly we shot it. We were like, we're done. That was really quick, because I had it so clearly in my head. I was like, that's why there's a few shots that you never see in the movie, because me and Tamika were just like, well, we've got another hour. Let's just get a shot of me. I'll be outside the train. Let's just do that because it's cool. You know, knowing I'd never use it, you know, so it's,
How long was the shoot?
We had 3 hours to get it done on the train, and we did it in about 2.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was, I think it was the whole thing was so clear in how it was going to work in my head that there was nothing really to do. And the set just lit itself.
Yeah.
I brought in every light I had because I didn't know what I was in store for. And then they turned the lights on and it just looked beautiful. I was like, oh, bro, you know, so it's a happy accident.
And trains naturally have like that kind of almost creepy light.
They do.
You know?
They do.
Yeah.
Was that like a challenge to get that train kind of spot?
Yeah, I mean, that was the big challenge. I mean, even though the shoot was really quick, Man on a Train was about 1.5 years in the making.
See, I knew it.
It was logistics of getting the train. We had options. We could go to a train company, but they're very expensive and they have script approval. And I don't think they want our little boogeyman film on their trains. Then they were people that had like a set in existence that you could film on. But the problem with them was you could see over the seats.
Oh.
And it's like, so she sees over the seats, it's just this dick walking towards her. So, it doesn't quite work. But eventually we found these people that owned trains that they rented out to film companies. And there was kind of old-fashioned trains, but they were great. They were lovely. They let us on, and we had a look around, and we thought, yeah, this will work. Let's do it.
Wow. Over a year to make that film.
Yeah, it took a long time to figure out. We didn't have funding or anything. We were just like, I don't know. Well, I'm just going to save up and find a place. And so, it was one of those things where it's such a simple idea, and yet you don't know whether it's going to get made or not, because it really hangs in the balance whether you're going to get this train carriage or not. Were
there ever times where you were thinking, I'm not going to make it? I mean, we can't do it. I guess we're not going to be able to do this.
Yeah, I think I'm by nature an optimist, but that also means I can talk myself into my own bullshit. I mean that in a very joking way. I can sort of believe, well, yeah, of course it'll happen because it's in my head. But there were times where I just thought, I don't know how this is going to work, but logistically how we're going to do this, but it ended up really working.
And what about casting with Tamika? How did that come about? How did you find her?
Tamika, well, Tamika was a former student of mine.
Wow.
At Oxford School of Drama, and we just got on really well. And she likes horror movies and everything. And I've been doing my best because I try to support students as much as I can. So I was helping her out with showreel material and everything. And I had this idea for Man on a Train, and I told people about Man on a Train. And I don't think people quite got it.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, I was like, yeah, he comes down and he's like there, and then he's there, and they're like, and I don't think I wasn't explaining it very well, but I sent her the synopsis, and she instantly got it. She was like, I get it, it's scary, let's do it. And it was like, yeah, okay, that's great.
Wow,
that's beautiful.
But she's such a good actor, and she's just
great.
finished the play. She's now stepped on board as a producer for Mini Nightmares, along with another guy called Simon Phipps, and we're just gonna move on. Yeah, make some more stuff.
Jeez, I mean, she was great. She was awesome. The subtlety of, I mean, you felt her tired.
Yeah.
You felt like, I'm just kind of fed up, and you felt I mean, it's very easy to ham up, to BS a scare, to BS a real fright, my heart just sank into my stomach feeling, and she did a great job of that.
I love just the beginning, looks at just being curious.
Me too.
You know what I mean? Because every time you go on the train or bus
I do
or
it all the
anything, you're
time.
looking around.
And I pretend I'm on the phone or something. I'll just
and you start looking around.
Do that. We all do it.
Yeah.
And she was very human, very subtle.
Yeah.
And that goes to your direction as well. But I get for teaching. So do you teach actors as well? Is that something you do at the School of Oxford?
I teach foundation course wise. I teach them a little bit of acting on camera, but the acting department is handled by very, very sophisticated drama teachers. So I'm more of I'm the cinematographer at the school, and we just make crazy short movies and stuff.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that's amazing though. You have a pool of young artists to pull from.
It's like literally, you can't believe your luck. You're basically paid to do what you love to do. It's a lot of work, but it's I'm paid to learn as much as I'm teaching them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and you get students, age groups from 18 to mid 40s, and I like to get them to direct. And so it's like, look, you guys are going to direct this one, and I'm going to be your cinematographer, and you tell me what you want. And the students say, well, we've got this idea about, can we do this, and then the light does this kind of thing? And I'm like, well, I've never done that before, but hey, let's give it a go. And 20 minutes later, I've done something I never thought I could do. It's a great sort of circular way of working there. Such a great creative place.
Man, okay.
Never stop learning, man.
Jeez, you're learning from the students as well. It's really it sounds incredible. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask just about the you talked about it before, the composer, there was some sound and I think there was like some tracks, right? Some
Yeah, you
music
could hear a little bit of the train.
or some sounds or something added.
There was sound editing.
seats, the seat.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I don't know, when I think of horror, I think that like sound definitely plays
Oh, yeah.
a big role.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah,
So what was your kind of like, because obviously it was very just, I think, just real and like train sounds and
Ambient,
people
yeah.
talking, very ambient. How was your like thought process with the sound design and everything of the train? And because trains are normally like so loud, and,
Squeaky. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest, most in the film that inspired me so much was No Country for Old Men.
Oh,
And it's the sound design in that movie where everything is quiet and you can hear every click, every squeak, everything. And it's like any movement, you give away your position. And that was such I remember walking out of that film and I was kind of angry as well, because I was like, why? I'm trying to do that. Why do I suck? Why can't I make a film that good? It's like, well, just keep practicing and learning and, maybe you can get better.
Yeah.
And it was that approach that I had to Man on a Train, was absolutely the sort of subtle sound design that is there but doesn't call attention to itself too much.
yes.
And it was on the day we were there, we realized how noisy the seats were. And so we thought, well, we've got to record this. So we spent the last 20 minutes just recording weird sounds on the seat so I could stick them in.
Yeah.
But it was, there's a sound moment which I was really keen on, which is, I don't know if you heard it, but there's a little bottle.
Oh,
moves.
yes.
She kicks a bottle.
Yes.
And I added, the idea behind that was to add the bottle later on to give a sense that he's where he is. He's not that far away. So we sort of, it was sort of playing around with that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the giving the position away of this, person, as well as the uncomfortable creaking of a chair that you're leaning back and forth on, and trying not to give away your position, but you can't help it. It's like squeaking on the floor when you walk through the house at night. You're, I don't want to give away the position, but now the ghost knows where I am.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like when we're frightened, but we don't know what our options are.
Yes,
like an animal, we go really quiet.
Yeah,
it's like we know it's dangerous, and we know that person's coming to kill us. Right? Okay, run or fight or whatever. But if we're just not sure, we're really quiet.
Yes.
I'm going to wait and see what happens before I do anything rash.
Yes. Well, I mean, I guess I've been speaking to a lot of my friends about it and showing them, and including Adam. And I guess the conversation that comes up a lot is, what would you do? What would you do in this situation? If you were her and you're on the train and the door's locked, as soon as you walk in, you sit down and then it plays out like it plays out. What do you do in that situation? Do you get real quiet?
Yeah.
Do you give in? Do you pretend it's not there? Do you get up and fight? What do you do?
What do you do? Dave?
Yeah, we've talked about this. I think I'm screaming as loud as I can at that point. I'm yelling directly. I'm not losing eyesight. I'm trying.
I got to get up.
I got to lock
and be
on.
Like, where are you?
I have to lock on now. Yeah, at some point, not at the first few moments, but about the second one or third one, I have to get up now and I have to, like a bear. It's they say here, if you see a bear, you get real big, and you try to scare it away. But in her situation, it's different.
Yep.
You plug yourself into that scenario, and depending on who you are, the size of you, your temperament, it's just terrifying to think about. It's terrifying.
It's interesting because I think I was inspired. I think, and this is only after people started talking about how frightening they found it, because I thought maybe it's not that scary until people really started saying it is scary. But when I look back at it, I think I was inspired by things that happened to me when I was a kid.
Oh, man.
And when you're a kid, these things are really scary. I'll never forget there was a guy who followed me around a shop when I was about 10. And it was a big bookstore in London. And he was on every floor and he was always looking at me. And there was a time where I basically... He was sitting, there's like nice bookshops where they give you a sofa so you can sit down on a sofa and read a book. I peered around the shelf and I looked, and it was like I saw the back of his head, and it was like he had eyes in the back of his head. He just turned around, looked at me, and smiled, and it really, really scared me. And there was a guy who was also, when I was at school, he was in the top year, and he would stare at people with the intent of frightening them. You know what I mean? That was his. Man. He'd just look at you and stare at you for 10 minutes.
I love that.
Like, just the idea was to frighten you as much. So I think I was kind of subliminally channeling those experiences.
Yes.
When I came up with the story. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's again, it's so. I mean, I relate to that. You know, when you're young, those things.
Yeah.
They're immeasurably more scary than when you think of them now. If you're in the situation, you know.
Yes, completely. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
But you know. I mean, I think I was describing one to you where I was at summer camp and my cousins went with me and they were a little bit older and they locked me in a bathroom and they turned the lights off and scremed Bloody Mary through the door.
Yeah.
And I remember panicking and crying and screaming and thinking about it today and just saying, you know, I just sit there today and I think that's so silly.
Yeah.
You know, all right, guys, open the door. But it's those things that they leave a kind of little bit of a trauma, a little bit of a scare wound on you, and you never forget them.
They really
you know?
do.
Yeah.
There's a little splinter that just never quite heals.
Yes.
You know what? The weirdest thing is my sister used to tell me that if you don't step off an escalator, you get sucked into it.
Yeah.
And to this day, I remember just talking to my girlfriend about it and thinking, to this day, I think I step over the edge of the escalator every time. Because it never quite healed when I was 5 and I was told that. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Since we're sharing traumas, I'll tell a trauma that my brother did to me.
Here we go, right.
My brother used to say when I was, basically I was the second child, so he's my older brother. I'd always be spoiled, and he hated that. So he told me that I'm getting potty trained. He tells me the toilet has teeth.
The toilet has teeth.
So Mikey can't go to the bathroom for years. So that's just... And that's trauma.
That's
awful. That's awful.
Can't use the toilet.
I always look in.
There's that splinter.
Just in case.
No, but that's interesting because it influences your story. I mean, it influences your storytelling, that encounter. It's something that it integrally highlights your artistry, no matter where you go or what you do.
It completely does. I think, you know, if you really are following your art, you know, from an instinctive place, so much of it is coming from your childhood.
Yes.
You know, it's what you grew out of, you know. And I think, certainly since those two freaks from my childhood, I don't like being stared at. Yeah.
So for the future, Jack, you know, moving forward now, are we staying in this vein, or what is it? What is the next steps for you? Are you looking ahead 5 years, or are you looking ahead what's to the next story? Is that as far as you're looking?
We're filming a movie right now, which is sort of like a 25-minute long film. It's called Caligo. My producers, Simon and Tamika, have told me not to talk too much about it, but they've basically said, for me, it's about how far can I push it? Logistically, how far can I go with this? So I've come up with this crazy idea, and we are shooting it, and it's working. And we're shooting in the ocean, and we're shooting all this stuff. And then we're developing a few more short films, and then we're developing a feature.
Wow.
With Tamika, and we're sort of trying to. It's basically kind of like we're trying to platform ourselves. If you see what I mean. It's like, okay, so we've had success online, right now. Let's push it and try this different kind of thing, and then we'll push it a bit further and a bit further, and then we'll do this feature movie. So we're really excited. We had a meeting very early this morning in London, and we're really pumped.
Amazing.
So
man.
cool.
We're excited for you.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be following along. We'll be sharing everything, you know. Not that you need us anymore. But
you're way out.
Not that you need us, but we will be sharing your stuff.
No. I'm so honored and moved that people are asking to interview me. I never thought that would happen. So the first guy that interviewed me was Aaron from First Class Horror, and he has a great website. He interviewed William Malone, who directed House on Haunted Hill.
Oh wow!
Did you ever do that with Jeffrey Roach?
Yes.
That terrified me as a kid.
Oh yeah, that is a horrifying film.
Yeah.
Yeah, gosh. I have maybe a couple more questions, then we'll get you out of here.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay. How? Well, okay. No, I asked you that. I asked you that. Adam's asking the same questions I already asked him. You know?
Well, that's why you guys are close. You know.
Oh, okay. Here you go. This is a great question, Adam. What was your point of view with Man on a Train? What were you aiming to do that hadn't been done before?
I think with Man on a Train, and I guess we've kind of discussed this, but it was about trying to make something that was as scary as a horror movie could be, like as scary as I can make it.
Yeah.
But not be about a killer, not be about like I said, a guy with a chainsaw coming after you. It's about finding something that is really frightening, that sends a shiver right down you without raising the stakes to a point where they're life or death.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that's relatable. And I think I love horror. I grew up with horror. I love it all the time. I love it all the time. I love horror. But it's, for me, almost every horror movie I see is about the stakes of life or death. Mm-hmm. And I like the idea that, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a complete coward and I just get spooked by some weirdo that I see. But this was about just finding something that could really frighten people without going to that level.
Yes.
So it's kind of an experimental film in itself.
I think you tapped into something that we've, as a whole, been missing out on with horror in general, and thrillers are exactly what you're saying, is the stakes of a life or death. They're just a tad bit out of reach for most of us. You know what I mean? A lot of us can put ourselves there and imagine and get into a film if it's written well enough and produced well enough. But, you know, if I watch Man on a Train, or, you know, and side by side with, not to knock anything from horror, but like a Halloween movie or something like that, you know, I'm going to be quicker finding myself involved in Man on a Train than I am Halloween. Just because I think what you're saying, the stakes aren't life or death yet. You know, this is a weird situation we're in, and it's very relatable and just off a tad. There's something just off a little bit here. It's very human. That's the best way I can describe it. It's incredibly human, which, no surprise. You know, from getting to know you, I understand now why it is. And that's why I'm a fan. You know, that's why I think we're reaching out, because we haven't seen it. We haven't seen something like it before. So, man, that conversation's amazing. And then I realized the other conversation I have, this will be the last thing I ask, and you don't have to answer it because it's a weird one. It's a weird question. But the second conversation that seems to come up after watching the film or in the process of watching the film is, oh my God, he just did this weird movement where he just drops to the floor, you know, for a second. And then he's smirking through the whatever. He's doing all these weird, sharp things. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Who is this guy, man? Who is the man on the train? And I think it works so well because we don't know.
Yeah.
I think it works so well because he is the stranger. He is the person. Is his face scarred? I can't really see, but I think I can.
That's what I wanted to ask too, man.
And Jack, don't answer us. You know what I mean? Like, by all means, you know, if you don't want to, if that's something you're keeping to yourself, but like, that's what makes you lean in.
Yeah.
That's what made me lean in that POV shot of in between the chairs. Is he scarred up? What's going on there?
Yeah.
The honest answer with the makeup was this idea that I didn't want him to look like, you know, your classic boogeyman.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where he's they're clearly something terrifying. Do you know what I mean? It was more that sort of like, there's something just not quite, I can't quite figure that out. And that was the sort of the intent behind how he was going to look. But I think at the end of the day, I don't really know who he is.
Wow.
But I do think that, for me personally, and this is just my opinion, I don't think horror gets much scarier than the boogeyman. I think horror can get more psychologically disturbing. It can get more weighty and emotional sort of way or everything. But when it comes to just going right for the jugular, we all in the back of our mind have the image of the one person we never ever want to meet.
Yes.
And when you find yourself trapped in an environment with that person, and that person has taken an interest in you, That's as scary as horror gets, I think. I think that's the most chilling thing you can do. And I think that with Man on a Train, it was just trying to really bring that to life.
Yeah, absolutely. I had an encounter a couple of years ago, and just this, what you said is lighting up my mind of this encounter. I was in outside of Port Authority in New York City.
The bus terminal.
The bus terminal there. And I was with our friend Evangeline. Shout out Evangeline, and fantastic actress. And she, we were just having a conversation on the corner of the street, and it's Midtown. You know, it's hundreds of thousands of people walking on the sidewalks. But we found ourselves in a corner where there's construction on the sidewalk, so we can't. If we wanted to, we couldn't back up, and we're a bit cornered. And I start catching out of the corner of my eye a homeless man, and I notice he notices us, and I notice he's starting to turn and, you know, lock onto us and investigate and start to come a bit closer. And I remember feeling like, please don't let this happen. Please, the fear shot through me, you know, right away. I was like, and it's the unknown is locking onto you, and you have to deal with this in one way or another. You're not getting out without doing something. And he reached out and he grabbed her jacket and he started pulling her and just saying, I can't even remember it. The main thing I remembered was I was yelling at him, and I was kind of pushing him and saying, like, you know, I'm going to hit you. I have to hit you. Don't you know, back up, please. Because we were cornered, and I don't know what he was trying to do with her. And he was saying, I love you. He was saying, I love you. God bless you. I love you guys. And and immediately I was like terrified, man. I was conflicted. I didn't know what to do really. He let go, and we managed to like swivel out the side, and we got away. But you're right. This boogeyman thing, this unknown entity is locked on you now, and you have to deal with them. You have to. Yeah, your back is to the corner, you know, to the wall, and you have to.
That's the thing. That's like the random, no reason. Like there's no, like
you don't know intent.
Yeah, there's no, like you don't know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
but it's directly on you.
Yes.
There's like this guy, the homeless guy, grabbing onto you guys. You know, in your mind, he could have any moment he could have let go, or any moment he could have pulled a knife.
Yes,
you know, it's like you just don't know.
You don't
what
know.
The guy and that is so scary. That's just as scary as knowing exactly what the problem is and okay, right, well, what do I do?
How do I manage it? Yes.
And also I think the big thing is the train just plays so much. You're obviously because you're cornered. It's
you're on a moving box.
There's nowhere to go.
You're locked into. And everyone's gone.
It's even more scary.
And that's another thing. Where'd they go? Are we in a mystical realm? Is this a new place? Did she pass out? Is this a dream? The questions are never ending, Jack. And I think
that's the best.
Dude,
man.
Just kudos to you, man.
Yeah.
Such a fan.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Such a fan, brother. Such a fan.
I really, you guys really appreciate
it. Dude,
Anytime
you need an American actor, if you need a 6'3" guy, I'm there. I promise. I'd love to work with you. Any questions going forward, man?
That last thing you answered, two of them. The last thing I wanted to ask was, what's your? I don't know if you've explored like other countries' horror films, but I studied in Japan and I took a film course, and like Asian horror is just it's a little bit different. I think it's Asian more probably in line with like stuff like that you are more used to, is like the creepiness. It's not about the jump scare. It's more about like how uncomfortable can we get you?
Can we sit in this moment?
And I don't know, man. What I wanted to ask you, what do you think? What country makes the best horror?
Ooh.
Gosh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I would absolutely say that movies like The Ring and there's the Korean horrors.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think they had. I think in Southeast Asia in general, I think they have very, very unique relationship with how they tell ghost stories in a way that is very, very restrained until it isn't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until it really, really goes to you. And there's a movie, Tale of Two Sisters or something. I can't remember what it was called. And I I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name of the movie, but this character wakes up in bed in the morning and there's just a figure in her bedroom, and it's just softly lit morning, and you just see this person on hands and knees sort of walking around, and you're just like, and I'm sitting there and I'm just thinking, oh Matt, please just be looking for a contact lens. This is crazy. And it's not, and it's an entity, it's a demon. And I definitely, I don't know if you guys saw the other film I did called Her. I definitely was channeling that kind of fear when I went for that. I was like, it's not the music, it's not the jump scare. There's something very, very matter of fact about how they aesthetically share their monsters, their creatures, their ghosts. And that just frightens me to the bone. Frightens me so much. Yeah.
Well, there we go.
That's also Guillermo del Toro's earlier work.
Oh, man. I love Guillermo.
Horror. That was incredible. Yeah.
I guess last thing I'd ask, Jack, this is really it. What would you say to maybe a young filmmaker, young storyteller, someone who has an idea in their head floating around that they might be interested in telling story, maybe in the genre, just in general. What was something you would say?
I'd say the one thing for me personally is, why are you making it into a film? Okay, why not a book? Why not a play? Why not a video game? If you're going to make a movie, you've got to think, well, what is it about this story that it could only be told in this medium? And then the moment you've got that, your movie's going to jump out, because people are like, that could not be told in any other way. I see, a lot of short films, people have sent me stuff, and I'm like, I like it. I think it's great. I love the characters. I love the dialogue. I like everything about it. But I also think I would have loved to have seen this on stage. I would have loved to have read the book on this. With a movie, with a short film, it's make it because it's the only way you could possibly tell that story. And I think the moment you tap into that, your movie is just going to go, and people are really going to react to it, because it couldn't be done any other way. Man, that's what I would say. Yeah.
Ask that question before you move any further. I love that. Oh yeah. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack Shanks. Thank you for being on the podcast today, brother. Yeah. We'll be posting all your things, following up. There's gonna be links below to Man on the Train and the other films as well.
Yeah. Mini Nightmares on YouTube. Go check them out.
Thank you,
Jack Shanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. You're welcome back anytime. The door is always open at the You're Here podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I hope to hear from you guys soon.
Yes, absolutely, Beautiful. Man. Take us out,
Let's
Mikey.
Close it out. Thank you guys, the patrons, once again. They're popping up right now. Boom, boom. Thank you so much. Podcast, episode 147.
147.
Amazing. I feel great. YouTube, Spotify, Anchor.fm. Apple Podcasts, www.yourpodcast.co. We cannot afford the M. My name's Mike, and I'm signing out.
My name's Dave. I love y'all. Please be kind to one another and say hi to somebody today. Jack.
Hi.
I love
I'm sorry, that took me way too long.
No. We always...